Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's Sunday morning. You know what that means. It is not time for church. It's time for not your normal Sunday show. And from chilly Denver, Colorado area, let me present to you the one, the only Wayne Steiger.
Hi, Jeff. How you doing, my friend? Hello, everyone.
A man on his way to hell in so many different religions.
Yes, and I woke up 4 o'clock this morning, Jeff. The thought hit me. What do the spirits worship? I mean, people talk about in the flesh that, we worship the God of the Bible, the God of the Hindu Bible, whatever it is, right?
We have one watching right now, Wayne. One, it says.
One? I have 62, so if it was just one, we can get the coffee going around.
That's interesting.
But I thought, well, all right. So people talk about conjuring up spirits, invoking spirits. And a thought occurred to me. So who do these cats worship? I mean, is it like tag, you're it? It's like, hey, you guys worship me and I worship that one and it worships this one. And we're all of the same daisy chain.
Who knows? And I'm at the point now where I'm beginning to question. I think you've probably have been there before. I'm beginning to question if even the Elohim were the good guys.
Really interesting. I had a good friend of mine, Renee. She sends me books, and she sent me a doozy. I started reading this, and this is a non-secular book. Actually, it's a textbook, but it's fascinating. The guy wrote this book a couple of years ago, and he basically summed it down to this. If you look at all the cultures, all the belief systems, all the different religions, it comes down to one fundamental foundation. Man, and why we do this, I don't know. Man feels inferior and will always invent a God. Always. Where no God exists, man will invent one.
And Wayne, as Rocky Stucci checks into the chat room, I think that I can't help but wonder if that's being either hardwired into us or implanted in us culturally, because the last thing that the quote unquote gods can afford to have happen is for us to realize our own divinity, that we're divine, that we're sovereign, that we're free. And I'm beginning to think, and I'm studying this out now, that the Elohim came here under the direction of beings higher than them to create this planet as a training ground for gods. And the Elohim realized, gulp, we're training our own replacements. And they tried to sabotage the whole system.
Yeah, what's up with this? I mean, it's odd. And then the story broke Friday. It was on a number of different news sites that there was an anthropologist from Sweden and another professor here in the United States. What they did is that they took all the samples of 5 million different species of animals, and they looked at the mitochondrial DNA. And that's the big thing now. It's the human genome was the first one. Now we're doing human genome 2, and that's mapping the mitochondrial DNA, the feminine aspect. Here's the strange thing. They came down to an odd conclusion because they took the results they did with the animals over to the sapiens, man, and come to find out 200,000 years ago, there was a mass extinction event. And guess what? Apparently 2 hominids, whatever they were, sapiens, we don't know. They didn't actually type them. But we came from an Adam and an Eve.
Interesting.
Now, here's the thing. They are convinced that there was a cataclysm that happened right after that as well. And it basically kind of goes with something happened much akin to what we read about in many different religious beliefs.
Was that the moon showing up?
I don't know.
The moon showed up and threw everything into catastrophe. Well, let me switch gears here, and I feel really bad for this. I do. if there was a hell, I would probably be going to it. I'm almost sure. But when I read about this poor, deluded individual over there in that island off the coast of India, going to tell these islanders, these natives about Jesus, and they killed him, something in me wants to laugh at that. It's just, I know I feel bad, but dude, it's like, is this just purifying the gene pool? I don't know. I know I should feel bad, but I don't. And I know I shouldn't laugh, but I do. It's just such a microcosm of the futility. These people were fine until he showed up. And usually the white people end up causing the indigenous people's society to get messed up. This time they turned the tables and just said, no, we're going to take care of you, bro.
Look at this. And I got the story up here. So an American, I mean, they told him not to go.
Of course they told him not to go.
I mean, that's what gets me, Jeff. They said, you don't want to go there, dude. Trust us. You don't.
But he had to go tell him about Jesus.
Yeah. Well, I guess they told him what they thought about his Jesus. You know,
I feel the same way about him, Wayne, and I know I shouldn't. I feel the same way with him about him as remember that poor pastor that tried to walk on the water over the crocodile-infested river, and that ended predictably.
Yes, it did. And then last month out of, what was it? Western Kentucky, the snake handler church, 2 people bitten, died.
Imagine that.
And you know, Jeff, that's something that has always puzzled me when I was under that God spell, that it was an open admission that the very book itself is fraudulent. And here's why I give you the evidence, sir. Mark 16, 9 through 16.
Yeah.
It is written in every Bible that was added substantially later.
Yep.
Well, what happened? What, did Jesus send him a note and say, hey, guys, you forgot to put this in? And the Word of Faith movement, the Pentecostal movement, the evangelical movement will rely on those 6 verses as the foundation of the power of the name.
Yeah. And remember, folks, if you're ever going to walk on water across crocodile-infested river, make sure the crocodiles are Christians. And if you're going to go preach to some natives with bows and arrows, make sure they're in on the script, because it's not going to end well for you.
They, as I read in one comment, they filled them as like a pincushion. But
wow,
leave it, you know.
Well, Wayne, I know I shouldn't say it, but he'll never make that mistake again.
I bet he was shocked when he woke up on the other side going, what? What?
Could you imagine in the name of
what? Boom. Oh, man.
Thoughts that must have gone through his head. I know I'm an evil person, but boy.
Oh, it's sad. It
is sad. And the guy probably was a guy that meant well, and a guy that probably, he probably really thought he was going to save those people. But I think the bottom line is we don't need to be worried about saving other people. We need to worry about getting ourselves straight.
Oh, no. We can't do that. That means we'd actually have to focus in on self. No.
But this guy's willing to get into it looked like he was in some sort of a kayak thing and paddle all the way out there to this island and go. But he wasn't willing to do the inside job inside himself and go and look into his very own heart of hearts.
And by the way, the natives, they won't give the body back. I mean, he may have already been the main course.
He might have been. I saw somewhere where they said they located his grave. I'm not sure how they did that, but
probably far away up in the air.
From drones.
I mean,
and Patrick Garrett with the pun of the day. I think he got the point, Joe.
It's like I told Lynn, I said, well, they're probably saying it tastes like chicken, but if it came from America, it probably was pretty.
And there are church services across the land today memorializing this gentleman probably for his
well, you know where he was a graduate from, right?
What's that?
You know where he graduated from, right?
Don't tell me Oral Roberts.
Oral Roberts. ORU. Yeah.
How did I know that? That was a complete guess.
Yeah. ORU. Yeah.
Oh my.
They're making a memorial to him there in Tulsa, and there you go.
So what's this memorial going to look like, Wayne?
I'd make a stick man.
Well, listen, if the memorial of Jesus is a cross that he was crucified on, what do we make the memorial of this poor fellow? Is it a bow and arrow? Is it a spear? Is it a pin cushion? What would it be?
I think that's what it would be, Could you see this? Don't touch. I don't know. It's sad. It really is. Because, I was a real supporter of ORU at one time.
Yeah.
Oral Roberts.
Baxter, Wayne, Gary Baxter, ORU grads. The other white meat. You're awful. But you know what the chances are, Wayne? The chances are that in his death, he did get the stigmata.
Yeah, he did.
We're going to awful, Wayne. Why did you start this?
You're going to get emails.
This is horrible. But
okay. Well,
I just can't understand. It's like, come on, man, really?
It's
but even the mainstream secular media is kind of like this poor guy, this brave guy, and seriously,
I felt bad for him. But they said, and he wrote a journal.
I feel bad for him for a second. I'm sorry.
And here's a lesson. His spirit guide, his spirit was telling him, "Don't go," and that's exactly what that's what he wrote in his journal. He says, I got this bad feeling. And I'm thinking, well, sunshine, that's about the time you need to start waking up. You got a bad feeling. That means don't go. So, yeah, I'll just say hello to everyone in the chat room. Hi, folks. How you doing? Hope you've had a great Thanksgiving. Those of you in the other parts of the world, hope you're having a great Sunday. Jeff's getting a refill of coffee. So, as I'm sitting here. Let's see.
Wayne, he did hear some guidance not to go. He had a bad feeling, and he didn't listen to the bad feeling, and it got substantially worse. So let that be a lesson to you.
Yeah, he should have listened to himself. I contend that we can see the future to a limited degree. All of us can.
Yeah, I think with that we can. I really do. I do miss my old chair, Wayne.
Oh, man, Jeff, I'll tell you what, we're going to have to give you, am I going to need to bring you on and do a fundraiser for you?
I just like saying that because Captain Kirk said it.
Although I have to say, the one you gave up the ghost, that was a beauty.
That was a great chair. Yeah. And Wayne, this book right here is rocking my world.
Yes, Mr. Icky, how is he doing?
Dude, he's got all the answers.
I don't know if any man has all the answers.
Good point. I agree.
Yeah.
But it's rocking my world. Jay and I have done like 2 or 3 shows on it, and we're getting crazy numbers of people showing up and listening. And it looks like we're going to get David Icke on this channel. So it's going to be pretty interesting.
Well, you get him on. That would be great.
Yeah. I mean, I think we probably sold at least a couple hundred books for him so far. So.
Well, I think he's on tour right now, isn't he?
Somebody told me he's on tour in the UK.
Yeah, he's in the UK right now. Yep. So,
but I mean, he's a guy that has been ridiculed, lampooned, everything but tarred and feathered, and he's hung in there for all these years, and now he's kind of sitting back saying, "I told you guys."
That's some weird. Guys. We're living in a time that's unprecedented. It's just unprecedented. There is an event happening globally. Do you see behind my world map? Do you see that date?
I see 11/19/18, which is already passed.
Yes. And do you see it says worldwide?
I can't read that. I can't.
Okay. Well, that's what it says.
I want to know what happened to all the sticky notes that were on that whiteboard.
Yeah, there are compiled in a notebook.
Oh,
yeah, I organized them, and I've got like 400 shows that we could do. It's like
Wayne, I was pretty sure that the placement of those sticky notes held the Steiger code, and that was the answers to all the universe.
I got the download.
You didn't give me enough time to decipher it. I needed that guy from A Beautiful Mind to take a look at it, and he would have figured it out.
He would have. I'm going to invite a guy on my channel. His goes by the handle Mad Hatter. He's a code breaker. Interesting that you. Yeah. So it's I'm going to get him on. So this was Tuesday. An event happened worldwide, Jeff, and there was a vibration the whole planet experienced. The whole planet. This was registered all over the world. Something's happening now. If you look at what's happening to the African Rift, you have Madagascar, who's now going out into the Indian Ocean. The African Rift, the Southern Rift right there, is separating at a rate that in the next 10 years, that whole region there, 500 plus kilometers, will be an island.
Wow.
Drastic changes taking place, Jeff. Just this worldwide vibrations really got me scratching my head. This one is it's a sign. I'm telling you, and as all things are, every event is surrounded by signposts. And I think that we're coming into something. I don't know what it is. The folks in Washington State on Interstate 5, they know of the mountain up there. That mountain is coming down. And
what is it?
It's the, what do they call it? White Ridge. I know it's right there on Interstate 5. They know about it.
Crumbling?
Oh, the whole mountain is fractured.
Oh.
And it is now shelving. And geologists there's nothing they can do about it. They just got to wait for it to come down. So we're seeing these rifts show up all over the planet.
Yeah, who was I watching the other night? I was watching something. Somebody sent me a video, and this person was going through all these cracks in the earth, all of these sinkholes and crazy places like Ireland. And yeah, it seems like there's some stuff going on with the earth. That's the technical term, some stuff.
There is some stuff. We are witnessing, I think someone wrote me an email, and he was spot on. He said, you look at Revelations, Matt Hatter was writing on this. He said, I think the translators got it wrong. He said that they said that this is the number of man. And he says, I think that what they did was put the in there instead, a number of man. You would know that. I mean, you get into the Greek and what have you on it. But yeah, I'm just convinced something's going on. Here's one we need to be aware of. I'm going to do a video on this and talk about it tomorrow night on The Physicist and Philosopher. Jeff, this is none of this hooey-pooey stuff. This is real stuff. So do you know what a blazar is?
No idea.
All right.
That's like something that some of you pot smokers have.
Well, I think some people would like to get to that high, I guess. A blazar is a star that has exploded and is emitting a certain amount of gamma radiation. We have, and listen, when I get people like Ben Davidson, I listened to him on his podcast yesterday, The Suspicious Observers. When you start seeing mainstream people beginning to say, folks, this has probably most likely gone supernova. It's in our quadrant. It just hasn't reached us yet. And there are astrophysicists who are saying blazar TXX 0506 plus 056. That's the name of this event. Jeff, that apparently we've been hit by one wave, and quite frankly, it's got a lot of scientists out there wondering what's really happened. If this has gone supernova and it's in our area, and we're still talking 1 billion years out, but in cosmology time, 1 billion years is not that. So if that went off 1 billion years ago, we wouldn't see the light until just now.
Wow. So,
and this is the other thing, my friend. You think about the sun. The sunlight that we go out, and it's clear out here, right here in Colorado right now. The sunlight we're seeing it's actually 174,000 years old. That photon, that ejection of energy that happened in the nucleus of our sun took 174,000 years to get to the surface. And this is what we're seeing now.
So I hate to throw a monkey wrench into people's theology. Actually, I'm lying. I love
it.
But if there's going to be this supposed Jesuit fantasy of 3 days of darkness, then this 3 days of darkness had to have happened 300,000 years ago.
Yes, sir.
For it to come and hit us.
Bingo. Thank you, my friend.
Out of my face.
You get the gold star today.
Let me show you this, Wayne. Let me show you this. This is Revelation 13:18 that we were just talking about. The number of the beast is a man's number. It is a man's number.
It's a man's number.
Yeah.
So could that be identified as like a social security number? Could it be identified as an ID number?
I think the Greek, just the literal rendering of the text shows that it's actually money, impress of money on a coin, a man's image on a coin.
Ooh.
You can.
So he'll be a rich man.
Oh, there you go.
I want to be a rich man, rich man.
It is a man, one of the human race. It is a man's number.
It
is man's number generally.
Good. This is good, buddy. I love where this is going. This is cool. It is a man with a number, and he's most likely going to be
the generic term for mankind. It's just the number of man. It's man's number.
Yeah.
All people of the human race.
I love it.
So there you go. You asked.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. You know, when you speak about words, so Blazar, folks, we need to. I don't know. I don't know. I worked all day.
He's gay. Wonders if he has a gay number. I don't know if there are gay numbers. Are there?
How would you define a gay number? See, I grew up in a time where gay meant happy.
Yeah.
So in my lifetime, I've seen a word that has been transmuted from one expressing joy and happiness to one expressing sexuality or a sexual preference.
Yeah.
I don't get that.
That is interesting, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, I don't understand that. So speaking of words, I'm reading this book, New York Times bestseller, and it was written back in the 70s. Any case, it's dealing with the concept of how we live our lives, the perception of how we define our reality. And the example was brought out, and I thought it was so cool. So room. When I say room to you, Jeff, what do you think?
Room?
Yes. R-O-O-M.
Put it in context for me. Put it in a sentence.
Oh, I could put it in. See, that's the point.
Well, room to me means space. If you just say room, I'm thinking space.
Okay. And so we could define then room as you and I are sitting in a room.
Yeah.
It's a defined space. Yet I could use the word again and say, Jeff, I have some property where I have room to grow.
Yeah, that's the way I think of it. When you say room to me, I'm thinking of space and expanse.
Yeah. Yes. And though that one word helps to clearly separate how people perceive reality. Many perceive the reality of a room as a defined space contained by barriers. Then you have where those who say room, that I think room is basically no barriers.
Yeah, that's what I would say.
Yeah. Interesting, isn't it?
So I wonder if that shows, I don't know how you could do it, but if most people that are still within the fear, guilt, control matrix, most people that are still under the God spell, if they when they hear room, do they think of an enclosure? And people that are out of that, do they think of room as an expanse?
Well, as you were saying that, so I come out of the Word of Faith, doctrine. So the throne room, think about that. And there's so many other allegories, particularly in with religion. You talk about the room,
The upper room.
the upper room. Think about that.
Somebody said the upper room. I didn't. That wasn't for me.
That's well done.
The upper
Let's see.
room. Yep.
I'm just trying to read what some people are writing there. So anyway, it's an interesting idea.
I mean, the Holy of Holies was a room too.
Yes, it was.
And it
Very
was
defined.
David Icke pointed this out, and Jay pointed out in our discussion last night that, and I had never seen this before. I'd seen it, but it had never clicked. The Holy of Holies, Wayne, according to the measurements in the Old Testament, is a perfect cube.
Yes.
How about
That's very
that?
interesting.
It is very interesting.
And what sits there in Mecca?
A perfect cube.
A perfect cube.
Called the Kaaba, I believe. Kaaba.
Yeah. Yeah.
And somebody sent me an email today, and I'm not saying anything other than it's interesting, but if you put Kaaba and Allah together, you get
Kabbalah.
like Kabbalah.
Uh-huh.
I'm just saying.
And the cube is also associated with Saturn.
It is. And the New Jerusalem, if you look at it in the book of Revelation and just take it literal rendered from Greek to English, it's a cube, cousins. What does the next generation show for the race that's going to come back and make us all automatons of a hive mind? They're the Borg. What do they travel in?
A cube.
They do.
Yes. Resistance is futile.
That's what they want us to believe.
Didn't Picard said, well, we'll resist you to our death. And what did the cube say? Death is irrelevant. Doesn't matter. You're still going to get sucked in, buddy.
And death is irrelevant, isn't it?
It truly is. Allow me to share something with you. I had pulled something up earlier.
I always get a little nervous, Wayne, when you start to share the screen because I never know what's going
on. Oh, come on. All right. So, I'll never embarrass you only on purpose.
Exactly.
It's like, really? So here's the article I was talking about. Did a mysterious extinction event precede Adam and Eve?
Absolutely. Genesis 1:1 and 1:2 in between. Yeah.
And I'm going, again, the God spell, the video I did, Two Creations, Two Worlds, it's gotten almost like 100,000 views on it. Jeff, it's amazing how many people cannot handle the fact that there was a extinction of, I think we were hit by an asteroid, because doesn't Genesis 2:4 say that there was no vegetation found on the earth and that there was no man to till the soil?
It's actually Jeremiah 4:23, and Jeremiah says that this extinction event happened at the appearance of Yahweh and the blast of his fiery anger through his nostrils.
Well, then that would make sense for the glassification that we find in certain parts of the world, where we know, for instance, in the Middle East, India, Africa. Now we're finding it in South America that there is glassification on the surface.
Glassification, yeah, it would. Yeah. And it kind of helps paint Yahweh as a dragon-like figure.
Yes. So this is absolutely, we're learning. And may I say this, Jeff? I think we're getting too close to the truth, and I think that they're going to try to intervene.
I think so too. What was I going to say? Oh, and I think David Icke was speculating that event could have been simultaneous with or even caused by whenever they brought the moon into this orbit and the upheaval that it caused.
Yes. Then that's an artificial. And here's why I think that we're getting too close. I pulled up a number of stories, Jeff, that I'm going to be doing as a follow-up. We're almost there, Jeff. We're almost there to actually crack what happens at the moment of transmutation, ascending, however you want to say it. This is a very interesting article. How they're defining now, I don't think it's the soul. I think what they're mixing up. I just got the Revelation of Soul by Socrates. Aristotle, excuse me. And I'm curious to see where this concept of the soul, but
Yeah,
what do
what
you
did he know?
huh?
What did he know?
What did he know? I mean, so I think this is fascinating. And I found a number of stories. This one I found a little unnerving. Apparently, all of us, we recognize we're dying.
Hmm.
Unless it's a blunt force trauma where
Right.
the spirit is pushed out of the body, out of the physical realm. But
And there
if,
may even be an instant that you know then.
yeah, yeah, absolutely.
And what do you do with people, Wayne, that some people apparently have a knowing even from their youth that their time here is short.
Oh, I absolutely, it gets back to that whole idea of time. If time's a tunnel, even
Right.
if time is on a straight plane, Jeff, that implies that we can look forward or backwards.
Yeah.
So this one, apparently, we all will recognize that transition. We are conscious. And this
You
article
think
goes,
everybody recognizes it, or just people that have come to a place of realization and some spiritual?
well, this one, they didn't talk about the individuals that they were part of this, but obviously religion is going to dictate, I think, a lot of that reality.
Yeah.
Here it is. Another article. What happens when you die? Death is not final. They're learning something. They're actually, because of our understanding of quantum reality, science, medical science is now applying the quantum science into the research of the spirit's departure.
And they want to reboot you, I see there in that
You
headline.
see that? Yes. Yes. It's just, I got another one.
I think you reboot, Wayne. I think we're all going to reboot, but the trick is not being rebooted, but you yourself being in charge of the rebooting.
I think you may be right. Jeff, this is going to sound weird. At 4 o'clock this morning, I woke up as usual. First thought that hit me, I heard myself, and this is what I said: I am spirit. I am speaking. And then the next thought came to me, so who do the spirits worship? Anyway, I'll stop this, but I just wanted to show you just some of the crazy stuff that's going on.
Maybe, I mean, Wayne, I think the spirits have learned enough not to worship,
Ooh,
because anything that wants worship isn't worth worshiping.
I like that. I like that. I was just looking at some of the comments. So to me, it's very plain that this is an adventure to look forward to, Jeff. It
Oh,
really is. This book I'm reading about this Indian shaman, it's quite fascinating to see the cultures, the indigenous cultures that were here in the Southwest, all the way down into Pan America, all the way down into South America. There was a rich belief system, and they understood reality, I think, better than all of us combined.
absolutely. Have you ever read the Carlos Castaneda books?
That's what I'm reading right now.
That's what I thought. How do I know these things? I knew it.
Yeah. See? So you're going to the desert. Talk to me. What are we going to be finding in the desert? Hey, Blazing River, how are you, fellow Coloradan?
Well, that's a great question. I'm going there just to be in the ether of these holy lands, and to walk places that not too many pale faces, and I know it's a racist term, have walked, and going to see what I'm going to see, and going to discover not so much something out there, but maybe something within me, and have some fellowship and meet a lot of people that I haven't met before. And I know one thing: if there's Kool-Aid there, I'm not going to drink it, Wayne.
Well, if they give you a little cactus juice, as you know, peyote is, and I took a lot of that. I now understand something. I was telling my wife this. Things have changed in me, and the movie screen that I'm watching now is starting to answer some of the questions I have in my present, because the events that happened in my past have provided those answers.
Good point. Good point.
And, we're here for a purpose. We're here for a unique purpose, a unique time. And I understand now why, my spiritual searching went through primarily psychotropic plants and chemicals as well on that, particularly lysergic dialdehyde. So, yeah, I think it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. And, with Rex being there and Derek Bros being there, I'm kind of the straight guy. So,
How many people are you expecting out there?
It's too hard to try to nail down. I'm just not sure. I don't know. I really don't know. And I have no idea.
You see, I like this. You're going in with a blank slate.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, this is cool.
Rosa.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that this is really cool. Well, I think you're going to have an experience, Jeff. I really do. Because, again, I am convinced that 2019 is going to be a year that's just really going to be, I think it's going to be much more different than I think what we can anticipate.
Yeah. And I know one thing for sure, Wayne, if Rex is there, it's not going to be dull.
No. Now, y'all going to be doing live broadcast?
I've hung out with Rex a couple times, so it'll be fun. Yeah, we have actually, I'm pretty impressed. Derek went out there. He procured this little system, this little satellite dish and stuff, and he took it out there and aimed it up at these geosynchronous satellites. Sorry, flat earthers. But
oops.
He's got internet out there in the middle of the desert, and we're able to upload at least produced programs, but it looks like even live programs.
Wow.
Internet from the middle of the desert with this little satellite dish he's got out there set up. It's pretty incredible. So there's definitely going to be at least some almost live broadcasts. And I think, there'll be three of us going out, and I'll have a camera, and Rex will have a camera, and Derek will have a camera. And I think that those cameras are going to be broadcasting back real time to the satellite. And the idea is that
it's like it from there.
Yeah. And then we've got all this FLIR technology. So we're going to be doing, infrared and night vision and all of this stuff. So, I mean, it should be pretty interesting stuff.
So who's bringing the lasers? Because listen, if you see
Derek got all that stuff.
Good.
I hope somebody's bringing some phasers in case we see some creatures in the.
Well, the lasers, I have a couple of military grade tactical lasers. They're designed to blind you.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, why else have the laser? Yeah. I mean, when you have it on your 308 and you actually slide it in, and it'll put your eye out.
Really? It'll blind you, huh?
It will. Yeah, it will literally blind you.
For how long,
Usually you'll have a what they call the afterglow. It'll last an hour or so. Yeah.
Somebody's asking if Ozzy Stern's going to show up.
Oh, I have no doubt.
Probably. He's hitching a ride.
I mean, it wouldn't be a trip without that. Hey, Blaine, someone knows a little bit. Anyway, my point is this. I think you will, and I think someone should be there. They do respond to high-intensity light, lasers.
Who's they, Wayne?
Well, see, I am of the belief that we have an armada up there.
So you're saying we should take those lasers for protection purposes?
Well, I also say if they're really ETs, they may signal you back.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. Yeah. Remember, lasers have a great intensity that, So anyway, that's what I do.
Painful to the ETs?
I don't know. I think that they seem to understand photons better than we do. So I think that the fact is that I think if there is a group of people that would put their lasers together, and if there's an object seen with the dark, with the night vision.
Oh, I see what you're saying. It's pointing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know if I want the thing coming down.
I think that would just be so far out. I mean, come on, Jeff. That would be the event. I mean, you would go into superstardom after that. I mean, we would only be.
I want to go. I'm going to the desert, but I'd like to get out of the desert too. I got some plans after that. I don't want to be.
Well, that's right. You are going to go on another adventure after that, aren't you?
But I don't want to. I don't want this existence to come to the end in the desert. I don't think.
Well, you're definitely going to be amongst the spirits.
We'll see what happens, man. Yeah, it'll be an interesting group out there. Derek's subscribers are a little different.
Yeah.
And it's going to be interesting. It really is. It's going to be interesting. They're a little more Jesus-ed up than we are, Wayne, and they're a little more prophecy centric and stuff. So it should be.
That's going to be interesting because they're going.
Sometimes I might be. How do they do it in the movies? Your Honor, can I treat this witness as a hostile witness?
As a hostile witness.
I might end up being the hostile witness at some points. I don't know. Famous
line in Cousin Vinny when Maria Tormel said, "You haven't seen Hostel yet."
She was
nothing compared to it. But here's the deal. So this is in Arizona, right?
It's in extreme northeast Arizona and over into the Utah border as well.
So you're in the Four Corners area.
Tracy says I might get voted off the island.
Oh, I don't think so. I mean,
well, Jay Campbell will be down there with me too, so at least it'll be a pretty good fight if they want to down.
So,
and of course, I'm just being facetious.
That whole area is two things. There are vortices in that whole area. There are ley lines that cross in there.
Yeah.
Y'all walking into some powerful, powerful energy forces.
Yeah, Caroline says strange things happen in the Arizona desert.
They do.
Stranger than others.
Take some mescaline and go out there.
I don't think so, Wayne.
Oh, Jeff, come on.
I don't think
Come
so.
on.
It's not here that I'm not sure I'm among complete friends. There may be some foes out there. The last thing I need is all mescalined up and.
Oh, no. What, if they're in the Jesus.
I'll find myself tied to a post with honey all over me next to a big anthill.
Oh, I could see this. I mean, you're going to have a great time, Jeff. Jay's going to be out there. I think you guys are going to do good. April says, no kidding, Wayne. Listen, I've been out there. I mean,
somebody says they hope a Sharknado doesn't swallow. I'll tell you what, Wayne, nothing would surprise me.
No.
Nothing would surprise me at all.
There are things happening, my friend, and you're going to be out there where there's going to be, if I think I know the area, the general area, your light pollution is less than 2%.
Oh, yeah, and we're actually in this formation of rocks. Let's see if I can pull it up. It's this rock formation, and it looks like from the air the head of an eagle. And we're in the mouth of the eagle. And I'm sure that Derek didn't just pick that randomly.
Well, let's see. How do you want to interpret this one?
Exactly. How do you want to interpret this one? Let me see if I can pull this up because it's rather amazing. Maybe we'll just run this a little bit.
Well, as they say from Brewer and Shipley, Richie Tai.
What is that?
Richie Tai, Uanaka, Eaneka. Oh, it's an invocation. An invocation of the spirits that they will guide you. Yes.
What spirits?
Put the song up when we get off the air. Brewer and Shipley.
This is what we're going to be in.
Oh, yeah.
So you can see the eagle's eye. You can see his beak. You can see his mouth. And here we are in here. This is where the gathering's going to be. Which makes
brother, that don't look like no eagle to me. That looks like a freaking vulture.
Yeah, that kind of looks like a vulture. He's even got the little turkey.
No. Yeah.
Also, we're in the mouth of the vulture. Thanks, Wayne. It makes me feel much better.
Hey, Bubba, always got your back.
So I'm thinking he's not expecting it to be many huge group of people, because if I was expecting a huge group of people, I'd be over here.
Yeah.
Instead of over here. But at any rate, this is where it's going to be. And
what a strange rock formation.
These are 900 feet tall. These sheer cliffs are 900 feet tall. And this is where we are. And the satellite is set up right here. And just coincidentally, Wayne, to hit the satellite that's in orbit, the little satellite dish could only be pointed in this direction. So it just happened to be perfect. If it had to be pointed here, 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 it wouldn't have worked. But
Yeah.
it's pointed out in that direction, and he gives you some panoramic views here of the area.
You know, this is going to be shown over on my channel. And by the way, I did hit.
Nice.
Yeah.
I mean, look at that.
Yeah. So I'm talking to the empaths folk. Let's focus in on this area, and that formation of rock is. How the hell did he find that?
I don't know, but I know one thing: sitting in that bowl, there's not going to be many secrets in there.
Oh no,
It's
no,
going to echo like hell, isn't it?
Oh yes, it is.
So there's going to be at least, this is, I think, Derek, I don't know if that's the production vehicle, but there's going to be a couple of 3 RVs at least for us, and who knows how many RVs other people bring. I'm a little concerned that there's only 4 porta potties, but
Like I said, you're going to get to know your neighbors. So what is that over on the left as you're panning on your 360? Oh, I see this. The video's going. Are there caves in here? Apparently there are.
There are caves here, but the caves that we're going to be investigating aren't actually in this area. They're going to be a little bit further away. But yeah, it should be interesting. It should be interesting.
Wow, there's some powerful energy there, Jeff.
Yeah, I think so. It's going to be interesting, Wayne. I almost had some trepidation of not wanting to go, but I think it's going to be all right.
You know, I say this because, you know, people, I know, and I understand. I was there. Listen, I had the whole Jesus thing and I got that, but they're walking into some powerful energy. I mean, well, you'll handle it well. And I think Rex there, you got a good person there with Rex, I think, guiding that. I'm just sensing that when I saw that from the aerial view there, that's powerful imagery. I mean,
yeah, I mean, it's amazing how things form like that.
Are these sacred grounds?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. Hopi and Navajo, and there's going to be Hopi and Navajo guides. There'll be Hopi and Navajo security. So if anybody wants to get silly, they're on their sovereign land. They're allowed to open carry, so they can pretty much lock and load, take you down if they want to. So if you feel froggy, go ahead and jump.
Hey, just pass the pipe, man. I kid you on that. No, I think this is going to be very interesting. I think the spirit realm, you know, in all the readings that I continue to do, I'm convinced that there was a time when the veil was not here, that the physical and the spiritual realm intermingled with one another. It was not odd to see spirits walking.
I would agree with that.
Yeah. I don't know if it was when the Elohim arrived, but something happened. I think, and I think about this on not just Earth scale, not just solar system scale, but I think about this in a universal scale. If it could happen to our planet, then who knows how many other planets, but they separated the veil on us.
Yeah.
I think they did.
Wayne, I probably couldn't take those rods in my carry or in my, if I'm checking luggage, could I take
Yeah, you can.
The rods?
I'd encourage you to take them.
So if I'm checking baggage, they'll let me take them.
Oh yeah. I think you should. I think you should, you know, it'd be very interesting. This is what I would kind of suggest.
I'll take the pendulum too.
Please. I think that, you see, I think that the earth is a living sentient being, and I think your rods, I think other divination devices, I think we could have I think so often as I asked the sweet person I had on my Friday night show, Kindred Spirit.
Oh yeah, I saw her.
Yeah. To ask the cards about the planets. And I often wonder your rods, if you get into such holy, sacred ground, and I say holy for a purpose, it is holy to them people, to that culture.
Absolutely.
That is their culture. And I bet you that the rods will come alive, buddy.
I bet they will.
Yeah.
Well, we'll find out.
Yeah. Caroline said, yes, she definitely is. Yeah. I think that I'd ask people who read cards, start reading the planets.
What do you mean by that, Wayne?
Well, Jeff, it's my belief that the planets are sentient beings. I
Hmm.
think that they are spiritually sentient beings. I believe that planets like suns are the progression of ascension. I mean, what greater place could you be than a sun in your journey? You would have an existence of 10, 15 billion years. So my point is this: the solar system, our solar system is changing. I documented that on the video I did Friday, and it was methodic. And I didn't hype it, didn't make it conspiracy. I just said, here are the facts. This is what our instruments are telling us.
Yeah.
And I'm asking the empath community, those who read the cards, those that use other divination, we need to start asking the planets, what's going on? I mean, so often we ask about ourselves. We want to know about events. My question is, and I searched this out, and this is why I'm bringing it out. I can't find anyone who does readings on the planets. But yet the planets are in all the readings. I mean, you think about it.
Very interesting.
We depend upon the planets in astrology, in Veda astrology, Western astrology, wherever you want to put it. Why doesn't these empaths then start talking to the planets?
Interesting.
I mean, they're long-lived sentient beings. I'm sure that they would love Mars. I think would have a story to
Wouldn't
tell.
that be interesting?
See
I've
where
never
I'm going
thought
at?
about that.
Thank you, Jeff. That's where I'm heading.
That's very interesting. So why don't we talk to the planets?
Why don't we? I think our ancestors did.
Why don't we talk to the planets? Somebody in the chat room's having a hard time differentiating Yahweh and the Christ.
Oh, well, you're at the right place.
You're at the right place.
This man has enough videos right here that you will leave.
Anyway,
that ambiguity would no longer be ambiguous.
Who is the real Christ, Wayne? Amanda Reno asked, who is the real Christ?
The real Christ lives within.
Answer. What's that?
The real Christ lives within us.
You're looking at him. Go look in the mirror.
Yeah. Tim Frick has a new video over on his YouTube channel called The Second Coming of Christ. OMG.
Really?
It is the funniest story. So Jesus has gone back the second time and is talking to the disciples, Mary Magdalene and everyone else. Oh, it is funny because what he does is that he uses the Gnostic truth from the Gnostics and now puts it into the Christ story. And it is so funny in there. I mean, Jesus tells Peter, he says, you know why I called you the rock? And Peter says, because I'm strong and stable. He says, no, because you're too damn hard-headed.
Oh, interesting.
And then Peter comes back and he says, yeah, well, what if they really knew what you and Mary were doing? And Jesus said, what if Mary was the true Christ?
Oh, she was, I think.
So, you have to, I'll send you the link. It is the funniest, and it's chapter 1.
It's worth watching, huh?
Yes, sir. Well, I listened to it. I just put it on while I was doing other things, but it was, and my wife was listening to it, and we're both cracking up. And she said, who is that? And I told her, I said, well, this is the guy who's bringing out the Gnostic truth to the Christ story.
Interesting.
She said, that is the funniest thing. She said, but it's so true. Yeah. Jesus said, Peter is arguing with him and talking about his divinity. And Jesus said, Peter, you just don't get it. I told you the kingdom is within.
Yeah.
And Peter says, well, you know what? I'm getting fed up with you. So I followed you now for 1.5 years expecting, and this is how the discourse goes. So you'll love it.
That's excellent stuff. I'll have to listen to that.
Yeah, I think you will absolutely love it. It is, put it in the comments afterward.
I think there's really good evidence that Mary Magdalene wrote the book of John, that Mary Magdalene, the words and teachings of this guy, Jesus, if there was a literal guy, were really being fed to him by Mary Magdalene, and it was her doctrine, but she was a woman and nobody would have listened to her.
And as you said that, so I'm alluding back to all the decades of reading that book and studying it. It alludes to it, though, doesn't it? Because it says that every time Jesus went off the path to settle, it was the women who took care of him.
Yeah.
But yet, we only get a small little discourse of the Christ interaction with Mary and Martha. But yet, we see Mary and Martha in the most, I think that they are the fundamental parts of the story. The rising of Lazarus. Mary and Martha was there. The anointing of his feet with the lard. Again, Mary and Martha.
Yeah. I mean, there's these, you really can't avoid it. It's just powerful stuff, and it's all been hidden and suppressed and oppressed all these couple thousands of years.
It really shows, I think, too, the patriarchal view that the world has been under for the last 2,000 years. I think it's one of the biggest clues when I finally, I contend that we're probably more in the age of questioning than more in the age of awakening. We may be moving into the awakening, but it became very apparent to me that the story, something wasn't right about it. I mean, the whole thing with Mary.
Yeah, and it's interesting. Tracy says that, you talk about Mary, anointing his feet. She sees that, I think, if I'm extrapolating this correctly, as somewhat of an allusion to the fact that Mary was, quote unquote, at his feet, feeding him lines.
Ooh, that's good.
That's good stuff. I think that's right on.
I wonder what the world would be like, Jeff, if we had taken the patriarchal monotheistic viewpoint that overtook the world after the Golden Age collapsed, that if we really had brought the divine feminine, the true matriarchs, I mean,
yep,
where would we be right now?
Yeah. Very, very interesting.
I don't know.
Wayne, do you believe that Saturn used to be luminescent in and of itself?
Yes, I believe that Saturn, in fact, I think Earth was a moon of Saturn.
So Saturn wasn't, was it actually a star, or was it just reflecting light?
I think it was a star. I think that our understanding of stars are becoming even more diverse. We didn't realize they're, yeah, I think so.
So it was a star within human memory.
Yes.
So that has to completely invalidate almost our entire idea of cosmology.
That's what the Thunderbolts projects have done in the electric universe. That is exactly the point. Our whole understanding, I'm doing a follow-up on the video on Friday because most people think that we are in this rotation of how the elliptical orbit. They see the planets, they see the moon, everything on a flat plane. Mm-hmm. But the problem is that the sun is moving at 550,000 miles an hour. The Earth is moving at 167,000 miles an hour. We have two conundrums here that men don't think about. Number one, what's propelling the sun and the moon and the planets and the moons at different rates of speed of propulsion? Where's the inertia?
What is propelling it, Wayne?
Huh?
What is propelling it?
It's a good question. And it even gets stranger because we're actually in a heliocentric orbit. It means we're going around like this. So what is pulling us or what is pushing us? And what is pushing us at different rates, at different speeds?
Yeah.
We don't ask ourselves this.
Is it gravity?
Well, gravity couldn't, if you take the heliocentric view, gravity has a real hard time now. But it's the only thing that makes sense. And I think that our whole view of the universe is that we look at it as this, as the flat earthers would tell you, a flat plane. But we can't be doing that. You and I right now, and everyone that's watching this, we have moved already in the last 10 seconds over 10,000 miles.
So if we could see the universe or the galaxy moving through the universe, it would look like it's just tumbling out of control, right?
It would be in a complete spiral.
Would it look uniform, or would it look chaotic?
It would look very chaotic. Give me 1 second here, my friend, and I will pull it up for you. I'll
So it's
show
not
you.
this neat little orderly system like they show us in, like it's in your classroom, where they're all going around and they're all in perfect little lines and they all are looking easy. And
No, no. In fact, this is what it looks like. That's what it looks like.
okay, well, that still looks fairly orderly to me.
Well, now you have the sun. Of course, the sun is oscillating as well. But in this diagram, what is trying to be shown is that the sun, as you can see, is so much larger than all the planets. But the
Right.
question is, what is the inertia pushing the sun? And now that we have this heliocentric point of view, you begin to think about the way the solar system works in a whole different.
Wayne, when you say heliocentric, what do you mean?
Actually, in a vortex of what you see right here.
So, here's a wild idea. If you look at these solar sail things, how the solar sails go out and provide the energy for the main mass to locomote through the universe, is the motion of the planets creating energy for the sun to be sun's propulsion?
Yeah, and I'm mistaken. We have the heliocentric view of what we see in the flat plane. It's the geocentric view on what the actual
happening.
Yeah, that is actually what's happening. It's a good question. I mean, do you know that mainstream science now, when Oumuamua came through last year, that stellar probe, do you know, Jeff, the thing slowed down then speeded up?
It did, as if its propulsion was controlled by something.
Yes. These are just some of the slides that that I had put together in that presentation. So this is what people think the planets look like.
No.
And it is not. That's Mercury, by the way.
Yeah.
So you can see this is what our reality is.
And the whole flat Earth model is a lot easier to comprehend, isn't it?
It's easier. Look at that.
But come on, man. That just makes a lot more sense in this flat, stable, easily understood thing. It's not an easily understood universe, ladies and gentlemen.
Jeff, my dear friend, I don't understand gravity. I just be candid with you. I don't understand the principles of how gravity is a variable. It's not a constant. And it goes back to the Hermetic teachings. And I just rest on what Hermes said. I get the law of attraction, the law of cohesion. I get it. I understand that. The law of polarity. I get it.
Yeah. About the only thing I understand, Wayne, is that I don't understand anything.
Exactly. Hey, Scotty, how are you doing?
Who's that?
I saw Scotty Hall in there.
Oh, Scotty Hall, yeah.
But Jeff, it adds a whole different reality to things. I mean, I lay awake at night thinking that, well, this is how we're going through this geocentric, heliocentric point of view. We don't even understand the planet that we're living on. We don't even understand how we're moving.
And if you buy into the flat Earth, I mean, it just limits you so much. You can't really understand the greater scope of things, and maybe that's part of the whole style.
That doesn't make sense. You see that? Listen, I think if people can think it when they move on, I think they could potentially be in a reality of a flat Earth.
Yeah. I mean, if this is a matrix, and most people agree it is, if it is a program, and most people agree it is, if it is a simulation, and most people agree it is, you can reprogram your simulation, your reality, to be what you want it to be.
Jeff, can we just hit on a point that you just said right there? And by the way, I thought your Mr. Smith video was pretty cool.
Oh, thank you.
So that brings up a really good point that most people, when they die on their deathbed, are dying in absolute fear.
Oh, yeah.
Boy, talk about a carryover.
Boy, that's powerful, Wayne. That's why they want us to be afraid of death.
Holy crap.
Because if you die in fear, you got no chance.
None. You're screwed, blued, and tattooed.
Blued? What does that mean?
Oh, you ever heard that term?
No, that's funny, though.
You know?
But you know what? The meat, they put those tattoos on them, and they're blue. So
Yeah, exactly. That's where it comes from. Screwed, blued, and tattooed, you know?
Very, very profound.
And you wake, you know, here you're going through the veil, and I can hear the announcer going, we got another one.
And Brad White makes a good point. Atomic physics mimic planetary physics. As above, so below. As within, so without. It's the same thing, ladies and gentlemen.
In fact, there's a gentleman waiting for him to decide to come on, but he goes through nature and he looks at trees that have been cut and he takes pictures of the growth rings and the reaction. And he has compiled, pardon?
The reaction of what?
How the growth rings are inside the trees.
Oh, okay.
And so many of them, they mirror exactly the electrical universe.
Oh, wow. That's very interesting.
They're beautiful, Jeff. I don't have his permission to share them. I'll reach out to him again, but I'll see if I can share them with you. They're beautiful. I looked at this and I said, my friend, you need to write a book.
That's amazing stuff.
You're on to something.
Well, so Tommy Gunn just answered. He says you got to have an infrared camera to see the flat Earth. Okay.
Okay.
I'm not sure what that difference that would make, but okay.
Okay. I mean, you know,
we'll allow everybody to come in and be polite with their opinions.
Yeah. Listen, I can respect everybody's view. I may not.
If it's really silly.
I don't. It's like, yeah, that's very interesting, dumbass.
But Wayne, I don't use the word stupid anymore. I'm using the word unsophisticated.
Ooh, I like that. Command of the English language.
It doesn't quite give you the same thrill to say unsophisticated that it does to say stupid, but that's growth. I think
we have a wide diversity of people who watch us, and we have some PhDs and doctors and what have you. I had one lady write me, and she is a psychologist, and she said, "You cracked me up." She said, "I have to tell you, she said, you had a way of taking a term that I love to use, but she said, you did it so elegantly." And it was the term that I said, well, and I used this for politicians. Most of the politicians have their craniums so far up their rectums that the fecal matter has now replaced the brown matter.
Oh, wow.
And she said, I know exactly what you were saying. she says, I like that. She says, I used that. And she said, the person looked, did you just say? And she said, yes, I did. So,
yeah, I don't even want to go down this path, but the belief in the flat Earth or stationary Earth or non-globe Earth, doesn't that require that you don't think that we're moving either?
You see, they contradicted themselves with the fact of a stationary Earth. That is impossible. How can you have everything else in the universe unless you're saying that the Earth is the center of the universe?
That's what they're saying, aren't they?
I think that's what they are saying. And I don't buy that. It
would have to be not only not round, it had to be completely stationary.
If you just stop and think about this, folks, what you're saying is that you have limited reality to a finite plane. What?
And we've got to be able to understand it.
What? I mean, here I am sitting on the Group W bench. Reference to Alice's restaurant.
I don't get it.
And that's the thing that I don't get. I mean, how can you, in any thinking, religion, politics, theology, philosophy, if it's finite, then it's failed. It's flawed. Because if anything that you say is finite, then it has to reflect back on you. That means we're finite. And I don't like that idea at all.
Me either.
Carl Sagan wrote that he had become convinced that when he dies, that he goes to oblivion. That everything, it just dissolves and there isn't. And I thought, that to me is a frightening future. The thought of oblivion, why?
Yeah, that's that's not very empowering to me.
No. And I like how you say, Jeff, you will probably be the most positive guy. You know, your positiveness reminds me of the analogy of the story of the guy that tripped and fell off the 10th-story building, and the detective was asking people on each floor if they heard anything as he was falling. And the woman on the third floor said, no, but she said, well, yes, I did. She said, as he was going by, he said, well, so far, so good.
It's not the fall that kills you. It's that sudden stop.
Sudden stop. But I have a sense that Jeffrey Doherty would be the man that would have the legs already running.
Yeah, like, yeah, so far so good, bro.
Yeah, it's like, it's just a step. And in fact, the laws of physics would say, if you're falling at 100 miles an hour, if you could keep the inertia standing up with the momentum, you would hit that ground rolling. You would actually survive it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, whether you fall, I don't know what the limit is, but falling 10 stories or 2 stories, I mean, you reach the maximum velocity. So
you do
enjoy the ride, because it's not going to get any worse.
Yeah, it's all good.
It's over.
So next Sunday, are we going to be on?
Man?
Huh?
What's for breakfast today?
I'm not sure. My wife was in there when I came on. So
next Sunday, I don't think we're going to be able to be on, because I'll be on an airplane.
Okay. I'll probably do a show here in memory of you. So you're flying out on Sunday?
Yeah, I leave Phoenix at Sunday at like 7 in the morning or something.
Okay. All
go
right.
over to LA and then go from LA to my final destination in flyover country.
You're going to love it. Just take some warm gear, buddy.
Absolutely. It'll be cold for sure.
Yeah, because, you are a Southern man all the way around.
I am.
You're a beach dweller.
And I haven't been able to go to the beach for a couple of weeks. It's been not beach weather here.
Has it been cold?
It's been cold and it's been cloudy, and no, baptism's not important unless you think it is.
By the way, so to all the folks out there, one of the clues that clued me in, and it was a Jewish person who did it. She took me aside, and this was back in 1991. And she says, there's this problem with your story. I said, what? She says, the whole baptism thing, the Holy Spirit thing. And I said, what? She says, in Judaism, baptism doesn't exist.
Oh, interesting.
And she said, if there was a person by the name of John the Baptist, he would have been branded a heretic.
Yeah.
And
I
most
personally
likely
believe that I've proven that John made up baptism on his own, and that Jesus got really ticked at him for doing it.
It is nowhere. And in fact, as she said, they would most likely have stoned him.
That's why Jesus cut him off.
That's heresy. It doesn't exist, folks. And people get all raptured around this whole John the Baptist thing. And, and I'm thinking, yeah. Okay. Anyway, I just wanted to bring that out, Jeff.
I agree.
I agree. It doesn't peeve me, but damn, that pisses me off.
Yep. It's one of those things.
Well, Jeff, it's always fun, man. I'm telling you, this is just, I'm looking up there and I'm going, what happened?
Yeah.
I mean, 40 minutes. This literally flew by.
It did.
Yeah.
Good stuff, Wayne. Thanks for being here. I appreciate it. And thanks to all of you for being here.
Now, thanks for everyone in here. Jeff, you're a good person. I enjoyed each Sunday. Have a lot of fun out there. Make sure to do podcast. When you get back, let's have you on Friday night over on mine. It'd be a interesting opportunity to get a.
We can do that. We can do that. And make sure you go to R. Wayne Steiger's channel and subscribe. And if you're not subscribed to this one, please subscribe.
If you're watching, I'm surprised.
When people like the videos, what does that mean to us as the people providing the videos?
Well, we do this work, and it's labor. It's a labor of love. It just gives you the affirmation. And, I always think of the people that are doing the thumbs down. I'm going, well, then why are you here?
Does it do anything as far as the algorithm to push your videos up or make them recommended?
It does. Yep.
Okay. Yep. So please do like the video then. Everybody hit the thumbs up and hit the bell so you can be notified of more podcast excellence, and go do the same thing on the R. Wayne Steiger channel. You've got, you said, what did you have? You said you have something coming up.
Yeah. Monday night, we do the physicist and philosopher, and we're going to tackle this question from a physics. What is propelling the universe, the sun.
That'd be a good one. What time do you do that show?
7 o'clock Mountain Time, 9 p.m. West Coast time.
Okay,
East Coast.
Jay and I kind of miss you. We don't come on till 10 on Monday night.
You come right behind me, and it gives, because we do it exactly an hour, and then what typically I'll do is I'll log off and I'll go over and listen to you guys.
Yeah, we should try to coordinate our stuff more regularly.
Yeah, then we won't be, yeah, I enjoy it.
And that'll serve the people that like to watch better. So,
well, the opportunity is with us, and you see, and as I just looked at this, someone took their thumbs down off. That's there shouldn't be any thumbs down. I mean, the question is now, if you post a video, one that's not live, well, yeah, all right, that's cool. I can dig that. Some people don't like it, some people do, but I think when we're live, I mean, it's a respect. Where's the respect? That's all I ask. Where's the respect?
Exactly. Well,
we have to get up early in the morning. You don't understand. We have to go through all the material.
I hope you have a good breakfast, Wayne.
Oh, thank you, Jeff. I know as a bachelor, I feel bad. I'd love to send you a care package. And
give my best to Lynn.
Oh, well, thank you. I'll let her know that she's out there listening, and she watches us. Sometimes she gets a kick out of it.
Not bad.
Someone just gave you a nice donation there, Jeff.
Oh, did they? I bailed off.
Thank you for $50.
Oh, my goodness. Thank you so much. I don't know how much I appreciate that.
Yeah, that is so cool. By the way, we did the telethon for Princess Warrior Princess.
I gave her some money too.
Yeah, and I'm not going to have people do the super chat anymore. That's just a ripoff.
Yeah, I mean, we love that you do it. But the reason I put in that top line in the box below, support via PayPal, just go to PayPal, use my email address, because PayPal takes like 1 or 2%. I think YouTube takes 40, don't they?
44.
They take 44%. So, yeah.
40%. And then
what?
And then they charge you the fees.
What do you mean the fees?
The actual transaction fee.
Oh, do they?
That's
so they end up taking like 45%.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous. And so, yeah, that's if you're going to support the work for Jeff, go do it through PayPal.
That's a great, you want to do that. And that's why I put that in there, because someone told me this. That's why I put it on the top line there. And you can just go to PayPal and do it that way. I appreciate it so very much. And I mean, that's the kind of things that make you think, wow, it is every now and then it's nice to get a pat on the back instead of all the kicks in the ass.
Well, people don't understand those attaboys. They feel good.
They do.
It's like, yeah, okay. And you love the comments. I had someone say, if you would just learn to keep your mouth shut, you wouldn't look so stupid. And I went, well, thank you very much. Much love, It's like, nice. Gee, I know how your world is, Yikes.
Oh, well, what can you do?
We love them. That's what we do, Jeff. We love them. And
Renaissance Women, nice to see you from South Africa.
Hey, South Africa, how are you doing? Boy, they're going through some interesting times, aren't they? Well, we all are.
We all are. That's true.
Jeff, I appreciate what you got coming up this week. You got anything with Derek? Is he out in the field?
Yeah, we're going to do Derek and Rex here before we go to the desert. I've got Jay tonight and tomorrow at 10 p.m. going through the Ike book again. Thursday night, I'm going to try to do a Consequential Rapscallions live from the desert. We'll see how that works out. Excellent. And then I guess Friday we'll be on with you.
Friday?
No, not this next Friday, but the Friday after I get back. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to it. Well, take lots of pictures.
Yeah, I'll take lots of pictures, and we'll have a whole lot of broadcasting or uploading going on from the desert. So it's going to be interesting stuff. From the mouth of the buzzard. As Wayne said, not the mouth of the eagle.
I swear that thing looks like, I'll tell you what it reminded me of.
Oh, it looks like a what's the University of Iowa Hawkeye?
Yeah, it's yeah, you guys are littering in its beak.
Yeah, literally in its mouth.
Tastes like chicken.
Tastes like chicken. Boy.
Oh, well, thank you,
so much, Denise. I appreciate it. Well, everybody, thanks so much. Go over to the R.W. Steiger, R. Wayne Steiger. So you're almost like R.W. Shambach. You could be R.W. Steiger.
I could be, couldn't I? Yeah.
That's funny. That's the first time I've ever realized that.
I never thought about that myself. I wonder, was his name R. Wayne? I mean, what was RW? What does it
Let's see if we
stand for?
can find that out.
Yeah.
What was R.
W. Schambach.
Schambach's real name?
Just remember, you don't have any, what is it? Any,
You don't have any troubles. All you need is faith in God.
yeah, that's it. That's it.
His name was Robert W. Schambach.
Oh, no.
I wonder if it was Wayne. Let me see if I can.
Bet you it probably was.
What was his name? His name was.
I mean, W's are like Waylon or Win.
Yeah. It does. Oh, dude. So is Robert yours?
Yeah, Robert Wayne.
What is the W in R.W. Schambach for?
You see how the Great Oracle works, folks? It works. It does.
It does.
It does.
I can't find the W. It just says W.
Well, he was pretty good at that.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what I think.
And his wife was Mary W. Schambach.
Well, and then when you said that, and then it's a mad, mad, mad world. Where was the treasure buried? Under the big W.
My brother Schambach. I can't. That's my new goal, to find out what the W stood for.
Well, when you find it, let me know.
I will, brother. I'll let you know.
All right.
Interesting stuff, ladies and gentlemen. Well, that's a wrap. We've been on here almost an hour and a half. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for being here. Thank you for being here, Wayne.
Thank you, Jeff.
We'll see you all again real soon.
All right, folks. Bye-bye.
Take care.